This is my disclosure slide. Dear annual meeting attendees, ISHLT members, colleagues, friends and family, good morning everyone. It is a great honor for me to welcome all of you to beautiful Boston and sunny this morning, the town that I'm now proud to call home since last summer, after many years in Zurich and before that in Sydney, London and Hanover. The relationships I have built through ISHLT have shaped my career and brought me here today. These connections are more than professional affiliations. They are a community of purpose. We mentor one another, we challenge one another, and we lift one another up. In a time when global tensions threaten collaborations and when science and access to care are facing increasing pressure, the ISHLT network of colleagues and friends is one of our most valuable assets. In times like these, we must reaffirm ISHLT's unwavering commitment to science, collaboration, and respect to all people, regardless of nationality, background, or beliefs. As an international society, we thrive because of our diversity and shared pursuit of knowledge, innovation, and ethical leadership in caring for patients with advanced heart and lung disease. We know that nowadays in parts of the world, science and scientific funding are facing serious political interference. The ISHLT Board of Directors is deeply concerned by these developments and is discussing how to support our members to advocate for our mission and to ensure that research and patient care continues to advance. Through partnership, advocacy, and our global network, we will continue to champion inclusivity and scientific excellence. Now more than ever, our work is vital. I encourage every one of you to stay engaged, contribute to research, and collaborate with your colleagues worldwide. As always, our purpose is clear: to advance the management of those we so passionately care for, our patients with advanced heart and lung disease. We gather to share knowledge, strengthen professional connections, and engage in exchange of science that shapes our field. I am very proud to report that ISHLT continue to fulfill its mission with both resolve and renewed purpose. When I attended my first meeting as a young physician over 2 decades ago, I was struck not only by the science, but by the spirit of collaborations and global unity. It was here that I found mentors and lifelong colleagues and professional companionship. It is that same energy that we carry forward today, and is why this meeting remains so essential. And that is why more than 4,400 of us, representing more than a dozen disciplines, over 50 countries from around the world, traveled to Boston this week, despite a certain unease of international travel these days. The volume and diversity of content at this meeting reminds us Innovation in heart and lung transplantation, pulmonary vascular disease, and mechanical support is not slowing. It is accelerating, and the energy in the upcoming sessions over the next 4 days will surely reflect that. Thanks to all who made this possible. Our scientific program committee, abstract reviewers, our amazing faculty, and a special thanks to Dr. Kieran Kush, our exceptional program chair. She is knowledgeable, of course, but also thoughtful and respectful in the way she led the scientific program committee. Kieran, you have made my life as this year's meeting president really easy. Will you please step forward to recognize and accept all our thanks? Well, a little surprise that it's not scripted. Okay, anything that is scripted. Thank you so much. Thanks as well to all of our industry representatives at the meeting, including our exhibitors and especially our supporters. You can see these valued partners in the exhibit hall just down the hall from here, starting after this session. Thank you for your support and ongoing participation in the meeting. To focus this energy and ensure impact, we created a new strategic plan for ISHLT. As we introduce this plan, you will see a new visual framework behind me. It's the evolution of our 2019 strategic plan to today, and it's intentional, placing greater emphasis on global equity, cross-disciplinary innovation, and measurable impact. Shaped by broad stakeholder input, including the 2024 survey of member and non-member perceptions and needs, the updated framework elevates advocacy, accelerates research, invests in early career development, and deepens our global engagement. But why does strategic planning matter? Because we are not just shaping a society, but we are focusing the energy of thousands of ISHLT members for a common purpose. Our work reaches patients we may never meet in hospitals and clinics we may never see. It is this expansive reach, enabled by structure, supported by vision, that makes ISHLT distinct. The full strategic framework is now available on the ISHLT website, and you can see the QR code here to download it. In parallel with the strategic plan, ISHLT continues to pursue new initiatives that advance our mission. The ISHLT Patient Task Force is exploring how to better include patients in ISHLT's activity and how ISHLT can more directly support patient communities. And very close to my heart as a pediatrician, I want to share some of the activities related to pediatrics. The Pediatric to Adult Transition Task Force is focused on the unique challenges faced by young people with advanced heart and lung disease as they transition into adulthood and independent care. And I'm also pleased to share that ISHLT will soon publish its first ever consensus statement on pediatric lung transplant referral and selection, a collaborative project involving more than 24 of international experts. And thank you to my international co-project leads, Nicholas Aftemiris, Don Hayes, Nagaranjan Mutilau, and Miranda Paraskeva, wonderful colleagues from Australia, Canada, the United Kingdom, and the United States. And it's my pleasure to announce ISHLT's participation in creating the Pediatric Heart Transplant Alliance, a new coalition dedicated to addressing the challenges and improving outcomes in pediatric heart transplantation. The alliance also includes Enduring Hearts, the Pediatric Heart Transplant Association, Action, and additional ventures. Through this alliance, we are building a unified and powerful voice to drive progress and transform the lives of children with advanced heart disease worldwide. At last year's great annual meeting in wonderful Prague, we were deeply moved by the general session presentation from Professor Boris Tudurov, director at the Ukrainian Heart Institute in Kiev, who joined us to describe transplantation in wartime. That moment continues to resonate, and the ISHLT community responded with both compassion and tangible support. Professor Christine Falk and her colleagues at Hanover Medical School in Germany mobilized direct support for the Ukrainian transplant team, including the donation and transport of specialized medical equipment and the establishment of a sustained humanitarian supply line. This response exemplifies the ISHLT mission in action, uniting a global community to extend care, solidarity, and collaboration wherever it is needed the most. We will share images of ongoing work inspired by that moment later this week. But before we continue, I invite you to join me in a moment of silence, to remember and to acknowledge the many ISHLT members whose absence we feel this year. We have lost many valued members of our great professional community over the past year, but their contributions continue to echo throughout our daily work and care of our patients and this meeting. I'm so thrilled that the ISHLT Foundation has now awarded over $1.5 million in research support since 2022. In addition, ISHLT research grants are set to expand in 2025. The first cycle opens next month, and the second cycle will open as usual in November. Watch ISHLT communications for more information on how to apply. These investments in research and innovation are only possible through your generous support to the ISHLT Foundation. Please use the QR code to contribute. This great meeting would not be possible without the commitment of our fantastic volunteer community. In the past, we thanked all of our volunteers during the first opening session. This year, you notice we're doing something different as we began celebrating our volunteers a little bit at a time at the opening of all the 3 general sessions throughout the week. Nonetheless, I would like to briefly pause to thank our society's past presidents whose leadership has brought us to this day. Would please all our past presidents briefly stand to be recognized. Thank you so much. I would also like to thank my board of directors who manage the affairs of the society. To all of you, thank you so much for your leadership and thoughtfulness during the past year. I would also like to thank the ISHLT staff, a wonderful team of highly skilled and exceptionally dedicated professionals, led by our CEO, Greg Schultz. Greg, you and every one of your team have made my time as sitting ISHLT president so much easier. As mentioned before, this morning you will hear an update from Dr. Rebecca Coxwell on the relaunch of the ISHLT Thoracic Transplant Registry, and tomorrow from Dr. Danny Goldstein on the relaunch of the IMEX registry. Despite currently challenging times, our board of directors formally adopted a charter for a DAI committee, as we remain unwavering in our commitment to inclusivity, equity, and access, and to advocating for science that transcends borders wherever you practice around the world. I would like to ask you, just by a simple show of hands, raise your hand if you're concerned about funding for science, about equitable access to care, or about how we support our next generation. Thank you. That is the power of this community. These shared concerns remind us why ISHLT must remain a voice for science, equity, and global collaboration. Our advocacy committee is now chaired by Dr. Alan Bendensley, succeeding Dr. Stuart Sweet, who served as the inaugural chair of the advocacy committee, and he was instrumental to its launch in 2022. Stuart will be honored with a 2025 Amanda Rao Distinguished Service Award during Wednesday's general session. ISHLT thrives when its members get involved. Whether you are new or you're returning, consider joining a committee, sharing your ideas, or connecting with someone new. That is what our beloved society needs. Personally, I have benefited so much from the great professional networking opportunities ISHLT has offered me throughout my career. As you all know, transplant medicine is a team sport. Only together, everyone achieves more. Thank you so much to all the dedicated multidisciplinary teams I have worked with during my professional career in Hanover, London, Sydney, Zurich, and now here in Boston. Just to name a few of my former senior colleagues: in London, Dr. Paul Aurora; in Zurich, Professor Nette Böhler; and in Sydney, the great Professor Alan Glenville; and here in Boston, Dr. Gary Wissner, who so graciously asked me to relocate to Boston to take over from him as the Pediatric Lung Transplant Program Director at Boston Children's Hospital. Thank you, Gary, for your trust and confidence in my professional capabilities to step into your big shoes. Within ISHLT, many people provided me advice, guidance, and mentorship, including past President Dr. Stuart Sweet, who was one of the people to encourage me to throw my hat in the ring for the election of Pediatric Scientific Council Chair in 2009. And Professor Andrew Fisher, who asked me to take up the challenge as the Scientific Program Chair of the fabulous annual meeting in beautiful Nice in 2018. Our society means so much to me. I recall that the great Alan Glanville more than once called ISHLT his extended family, and I fully concur with that sentiment. I'm very grateful for the professionalism and support of the international pediatric lung transplant community and for the many friendships that have evolved. Traditionally, we meet every year at the ISHLT annual meeting, also for a social gathering, and I'm already looking forward to that event tomorrow night. Personally, I would also like to thank all the wonderful patients I have been allowed to care over for these years in my medical career. Every one of them has a very unique story to tell. Some of them still follow me on social media, and you see them up there. They've kindly provided me their selfies to share with you today. And last but not least, I would like to thank my whole family who has supported me unconditionally throughout my career. Although I have to admit that my father wanted me to become a lawyer rather than a physician. My father, unfortunately, only experienced the very beginning of my medical career as he passed away too early in 2002 at the age of 67 when he was told he was too old to receive a needed heart transplant that would have undoubtedly prolonged his life. Nevertheless, I'm immensely proud that my mother has crossed the Atlantic to be here today, sitting in the front row to support me, kindly accompanied by one of my older sisters, Professor Andrea Kavi, also a very caring and very successful pediatrician. My mother has always supported me during my career. She even visited me down under in Sydney over a decade ago. And there's my husband, my love, Enrique, my best friend, who frequently makes me laugh, even this morning. He has supported me endlessly, even when the time is difficult caring for very sick children, and that is certainly emotionally draining. Although Enrique, born in Sao Paulo, has never wanted to leave his beloved Europe, he still agreed to move here to Boston with me last summer, with our whole household tucked up in a large container. At the end, I only had to promise him one thing. If we ever move again, he would only travel with hand luggage. It has been an absolute privilege and pleasure to serve you as president of ISHLT. I thank my colleagues on the board of directors, our professional staff, and all of you for your ongoing commitment to this extraordinary community. Let us begin this meeting with curiosity, with respect, and with a shared belief in the power of our collective work. Thank you and welcome to ISHLT 2025 here in Boston. And remember, Boston is wicked good.